Did you know that even though there are tens of thousands of words in the English language, you really only need about 3,000 of them to say anything you need to say? I'm teaching 3,000 words in 3,000 days. Stick with me and you'll get a new word every day. Equally, equally. Equally means that it is done in the same way here as it is here, equally. Things are equally important, or they are the same on both sides. So some synonyms for equally are alike, identically, equivocally, equivalently, not equivocally, uniformly. There is a discussion that equal does not mean. So there is a discussion in a lot of areas, but mostly in the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation, that equality is not the same as equity. Equality, so equally would go along with equity, meaning it's alike, it's identical, it's uniform. And so that's equity. Equity means it's so some similar terms are equity and equality. They both come from the same root, okay? And they are the nouns equal, equity, equality. Now, equity usually means providing the same resources or opportunities for everyone, while equality means to treat everyone the same, assuming that they start at the same place. So there's a little bit of difference because people don't start at the same place, especially in the world that we live in now. People are born into many different systems and circumstances, and so we want to talk about equity. Equality would be that everything is done alike for both. Equity means that there is opportunity for everyone. Equally is the word we're talking about, and it has the same root of equal. The equally means alike, identically, equivalently, same root here, and uniformly, okay? Let's look at some examples. Equally, the new policy should support both rural and urban communities. This means in the same way or also. They need to support both things in the same way, even though rural needs are always different from urban needs. There are some similarities, but they need to be supported equally. Equally important. So this is a phrase that we often use to mean I've just talked about this thing, but also this thing is very important and of the same importance. So equally important. Teachers need training and resources. Here, equally functions as a sentence level adverb in a fixed collocation. So equally important, I've just talked about something and now I want to connect this other thing I want to talk about and say that they are of the same importance. So same can be a synonym for equally. The funds were distributed equally among all departments. Here, equally modifies the verb of how they were distributed, and it means that it was done in a fair or even allocation. It doesn't mean that this department received the same amount as this other department. It means that all of the departments received what they need. She is equally skilled in graphic design and data analysis. This shows that her skill level is the same in both graphic design and data analysis. All applicants were treated equally, regardless of background. This carries a connotation of fairness, impartiality, and absence of bias. But we can argue that an absence of bias is often a bias itself. We have to check our biases. We have to look at the greater context that we live in. So if we are looking for an absence of bias, we want to treat everyone equally. The person who comes in with having been born into a better background, for example, someone who maybe looks like me in the United States, I have some advantages that others don't. So if I'm treated equally with someone else, then really I'm treated better than they are. That is when we talk about biases. It gets kind of confusing for sure. And it has to do with our history because we have a history of not treating people with the equity they deserve. The opposite of equally would be unequally. So some prefixes to make things the opposite are un, in, im, or a. Those would be some prefixes. And in the word equally, we use un. These things you just have to memorize what the opposite is if it uses un, im, in, or a. The noun can be equity or equality. And that's why I talked about the difference in those nouns at the beginning of this video. The verb is, I don't think there is a verb. The adjective is equal and the adverb is equally.
I really hope that you enjoyed this word. Use it 5 times today, write it down, commit it to memory. And I'll see you in the next lesson.